Real quick, before we get into the goodness, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified to every time we upload a video. Appreciate you. Affirmative action. Let's talk about it. My brother Breeze and I had a very in-depth conversation about this some months ago. The crazy part about it is I don't think either of us knew that it was used in the college ranks like it was, not until the Supreme Court struck it down. When I was coming up, late 70s, early 80s, I knew about it in regards of the workplace. I understood the purpose of affirmative action. The purpose of affirmative action was to give black folks a fair shot, to get our foot in the door. I got that. And I'm not sure if it is still on the books for the workforce, but I knew it had always existed for as long as I had been alive, pretty much. But as I grew older, as I became part of the workforce, as I became a leader in different jobs, managing and overhiring and firing, I became more critical of affirmative action because I understood its purpose, but I had gotten to a point where I didn't understand why it was still around. Surely we have gotten past that point as we have black CEOs, black business owners, black conglomerates. There is no longer a need for affirmative action. So believe me when I tell you that I was shocked and surprised that Ivy League schools had it on the books and were enforcing it. I have a two-pronged approach with this, or if you want to call it a two-pronged problem. One is, once something has outlived its usefulness, should it not be abolished? Should it not be discontinued? That weighs heavily for me in the realm of affirmative action. Breeze and I sat on the phone for at least an hour as we batted it around, Breeze being 10 years younger than me, but his life and world experience matches my age. We thought about it, and like many things that I believe that people, society, and the world needs to do as a whole, talk it out with somebody. Because as we talked it out, the answer presented itself. Because at the beginning of the conversation, Breeze and I were both very apprehensive about getting rid of affirmative action, because it has been discussed as one of those things on the Supreme Court chopping block for a while. And we just didn't know how we felt about it until we kept talking and talking. And I made an analogy that both of us agreed with. And that analogy is training wheels. When you are first learning to ride a bike, you do it with training wheels. Training wheels are put on a bicycle, rear wheel, that won't let you go too far left or too far right as you're learning how to balance yourself on your bicycle. Their job is to keep you straight, keep you on the upright. But as you get more comfortable, as you gain more experience and more knowledge on how to operate that bicycle, you take the training wheels off. That is affirmative action. I get it. I saw it. I'm sure that I was a victim of it a couple of times when I first started trying to work. But as companies and businesses were forced to hire more minorities, and these companies and these businesses saw that their prejudgments, their unfounded biases were all proven false, they became more comfortable with hiring minorities. In that regard, there is no purpose for affirmative action any longer, especially in 2023. Now, the other problem I have with it is, as I thought about it after the conversation that Breeze and I had, it suddenly hit me, and I am ashamed that it did not hit me sooner. And that is, affirmative action at its core was using racial bias to overcome racial bias. And when said like that, you have to think that's a no-win loop. Literally, it's a no-win loop. So I'm going to use this bias to overcome this bias. So when that bias becomes the top tier, it becomes the alpha, we got to have another bias to bring that back around. Instead of just saying, hire the best person for the job. And if that company chooses to overlook best suited for skin tone, religion, or ideology, so be it. Let them have it. But as I said, when I thought about it, using one bias to overcome another bias, that in itself lets you know that it was never built to be a long-term solution. It never could be. It's a snake eating its tail. So there was no way that affirmative action could have ever been a long-term solution for anything. Now I'm going to reference you to one of the few YouTubers that I constantly watch because they constantly give a fair and unbiased perspective on many things, especially when it comes to anything involving the black community and black culture. That is Mr. Eric D. July, Young Ripper. I know this is probably against every YouTuber protocol known to mankind, but if anything, for my long-term viewers, y'all know we run things our way here at Free Mind Thinkers. So below in the description, I am going to share a link to his video where he talks about this very thing. He goes more in depth into the issue, citing the exact moments when it started, the laws, how they started, and things of that nature. He does a very good job on that. I'm just giving a general overview about how I feel, how my brother feels, how we feel about affirmative action. It shouldn't be anywhere around. And just to steal a little bit of Eric's thunder here, he said something that I am going to agree with. I'm going to put it here for those people who don't want to go check out his vid. And that is, I don't mind if a business says, I don't want to serve black people. I am cool with that. Thank you for letting me know exactly where you stand and how you feel. That way I know not to with you. That way I know not to give you my business. That way I know to avoid you and go someplace else. That's fine with me. It's your business. Run it how the you want to. If you want to cut out the quote unquote black dollar, cool.
Just do what the fuck you wanna do.
You see how that worked for all them buses in the South during the bus boycott, right? Yeah, in case you didn't know, black folks recklessly spend money. That's a sad statement, and I'll make a segment about that some other time. But if you don't want black people's money, if you don't want minorities in your shop, if you don't want anyone that isn't in your race to be a patron to your business, so be it. I appreciate you being honest and upfront with me, because I don't want to give a dime to somebody that hates me. That's just the way that is. So affirmative action. Yeah, I understand its purpose. It fulfilled its need. I'm glad it's gone. Yo, if you want to hear the rest, make sure you check out our podcast. You can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. That is iHeart, Pandora, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Plus, if you want to reach us, drop us a line. You can find us at freemindthinkers2022@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about us. Leave a comment below and share the video with as many people as you can. I greatly appreciate that. This is your man, Big Brother Tucker. See you on the other side. And always remember, never be afraid to think differently.